If you want to understand the roots of black resistance globally and its power, then you must read the book Features of Black Radicalism with Racial Justice Struggles on the Rise. A probing collection considers the past and future of black radicalism. This collection of essays from thought leaders, scholars, and change makers serves as a blueprint for what resistance and radicalism really is. Joining me now is Gail Teresa Johnson, professor of Chicana and Chicano Studies in African American Studies at UCLA, and also Alex Lubin, American Studies professor, University of New Mexico. Teresa, I'm going to start with you. First of all, when you say black and radical, oh my God, white folks in America totally freak out. But then again, I always say, but when you talk about the founding fathers being radical and being revolutionary, folks say, hey, they were patriots.
That's right. I mean, we're in the moment right now where black radicals can now be classified as black extremists. I mean, a lot has changed, and then also a lot has stayed the same. I mean, anytime you put those words together, it inspires fear, and that's because of the way that whites and broader society have hijacked the idea of radicalism, not as something that is about transforming and changing and believing in the abolition of oppression for all people, but actually as something that's dangerous to white privilege.
But also, Alex, when you talk about black radicalism, it also scares some black people. 1959, Roy Wilkins, president of the NAACP, he called Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. a radical because he was considered the preeminent civil rights leader of the time and did not like this young upstart. King comes along, then SNCC, they become the radicals, CORE become the radicals. And so how we view radicalism isn't just in terms of how whites view it, but also how black folks view it.
That's right, Roland. And in addition to that, I would say that we also have to think about what radicalism is made of. Radicalism is not only the social movements like SNCC, like the Black Panther Party, but it also is constituted by everyday acts of living that resist forms of oppression, that are ways for people to survive amidst miserable conditions. So in our book, we think about black radicalism as part of a longer tradition of resistance and refusing to get along. And those acts of resistance can sometimes form the basis of social movements.
Teresa, America is not like black radicalism. Denmark Vesey, Nat Turner, we can go on and on, the slaves who were on the Amistad ship as well. And so you fast forward this thing to 2016, the impact that Black Lives Matter had on this election. Anytime in American history when black folks have fought for their freedom rights that should have been given to us by birth, white America said, oh my God, we need to go ahead and tamp this thing down because they are losing their minds. We literally saw that. That was fuel for the Trump train in 2016.
It is. And this is, I mean, partly why for some of us, you know, the outcome was kind of a shock, but for many of us it was not, because it was the accumulation of things that had been happening for a long time and also a backlash to what had happened in the past 8 years. People, of course, are afraid, but they're afraid of something that's very basic. I don't believe that they're afraid that black people are going to lose their minds and they're going to revolutionize society. I think they're afraid of something very simple, which is that they may have to give something up in order for other people to have equality.
And Alex, I want to go to you here. This is what Donald Trump just tweeted. Shelley, go to my iPad, please. At least 24 players kneeling this weekend at NFL stadiums that are now having a very hard time filling up. The American public is fed up with the disrespect the NFL is paying to our country, our flag, and our national anthem, weak and out of control. Alex, again, this is a president lashing out at black radicalism. The NFL last night, my Houston Texans played the Baltimore Ravens. Tom Savage, our backup quarterback, sucks. And you look at the Denver Broncos, their quarterbacks suck. Look at the Cleveland Browns, they are terrible. You have NFL teams choosing to lose because they cannot stand the idea of a black radical Colin Kaepernick being invited back into the fold. That speaks to America in 2017.
Yeah, and doesn't it expose the emptiness of the argument that sports is a meritocracy, or that all owners care about is the bottom line? Because if they cared about winning, they would clearly sign the best quarterback available. But I think what you're pointing out is that we live in a society where the Ku Klux Klan is not targeted by the FBI, but the Black Lives Matter movement has been targeted by the FBI as extremists. So we definitely live in a time where, as Gabe was talking about, black radicalism is especially dangerous, whereas forms of white supremacy are often overlooked.
Tiffany?
I have a quick question. I'm excited to read this book, and to read your findings. In what way, because we just saw not too long ago, last month or a couple of months ago, that the FBI came out with a report saying that Black identity extremist was also a domestic terrorist. And obviously with COINTELPRO, with the White House, and with talking about Black radicalism, how does government and how does white supremacy shift or change radicalism, extremists, activists, those type of things for Black people or for Black folks who are actually doing the work now?
Well, I think one of the things is to understand how this is built into the quote-unquote democracy as we know it. I mean, one of the things that we talk about is this giant of an intellectual, Cedric Robinson, on whose work this book is based, who was talking about something called racial capitalism. And that is just the idea that capitalism and racism coexist, that capitalism, while it is a system that could work, also we have to be really realistic about the fact that these things evolve together and in tangent with each other, because racism and racialism had already kind of permeated the Western world. And so capitalism as we know it is built on slavery, violence, imperialism, genocide, as Robin Kelley writes in his incredible essay in the Boston Review. So to try to take those things apart is the fundamental first misstep, that we have to understand that this is built in. This is how it is. In order for this country to run, it has to rely on vulnerable labor and on dividing people.
All right, folks, the book is Black Radicalism. We certainly want to thank both of our guests for being here. Features of Black Radicalism. Folks, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh, my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no. That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong.
Unfiltered.
He wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.